It's been 10 years since the EU referendum, when the country voted to leave, and what a fucking decade it has been. Yeah, that's right, we're doing this. The 2015 general election, the Tories won a majority, which meant the Lib Dems were no longer needed and they suffered heavy casualties. Let's take a look at this starring cast of this Brexit shit show. David Cameron, the Prime Minister at the time, and the fucker who called the thing in the first place. Nigel Farage. Nobody knew who this git was until he became the ugly face of Brexit. I'm guessing he wasn't allowed to stand as an MP in the UK, so Brexit was the only way he could worm himself into the spotlight. Theresa May, a Margaret Thatcher tribute act, her Brexit deal was voted down 3 times. And Boris Johnson, the twat who got Brexit done, with his usual style of lies and lack of diplomacy, which turned us into a sad, lonely little island. There was months of campaigning, or more accurately, months of both sides lying, fear-mongering and calling each other names for not voting the same way. What a sensible way to have a national debate about something that impacts all of us. The media has its part to play in this bullshit production of Brexit. Instead of informed and sensible arguments for leaving and remaining, it was shouting their arguments and whatever misinformed bollocks they could get away with. But hey, plenty of overtime for journalists and newsreaders. And something that no one mentioned, the whole taking back control of our borders. It's strange that the number of small boats increased when we voted to leave. It's as though when we were part of the EU, we had some sort of migration agreement. Oh wait, we did. The Dublin system, where if someone came to the UK but had claimed asylum in another country, we could automatically send them back. But now that we've left the EU, we don't have that right anymore. Now, you would expect former MEP, Member of European Parliament, Nigel Farage, to know this. The murder of Labour MP Joe Cox, 2 polling stations in Kingston upon Thames were flooded and had to be moved. There was a conspiracy theory from Leavers that using pencils to cast their votes meant they could have their votes altered by, wait for it, MI5, and speculations of Russian interference. 23rd of June 2016, the day the public went to the polls after months of lies, gimmicks and no clear idea of the actual implications of life after this vote. The results were in. 52% leave and 48% remain. Surely it's time to have a sensible and serious discussion about leaving the EU, right? Fuck no. The day after that referendum, we had no actual government running the country. David Cameron fucked off and left it to Theresa May, who was useless, and then it was left to Boris Johnson. We finally left the EU on the 31st of January 2020. Great timing with a pandemic coming through Europe! And if that wasn't enough, we experienced Donald Trump twice, Liz Truss crashing the economy, killing the Queen and tanking the pound lower than Nadine Dorris's IQ, and in 2025, the reunion of some band called Oasis, which made a lot of middle-aged men wear bucket hats fucking wet themselves. They were acting like a bunch of 12-year-old girls at a Taylor Swift concert. There are growing calls from the public and politicians to rejoin the EU. Rejoining. Not sure that's going to catch on. We all know Brexit has been the biggest mistake since Donald Trump, Nigel Farage's, Elon Musk's and Tommy Robinson's daddies didn't pull out, and 9 months later those turds were shat out into the world. And here's something. Since 2016, 5 million Leave voters have died. So, I mean, that's interesting to know. I'll leave you with that thought.